In this February garden tour of the outer beds in the backyard, we are going to look at finally doing some winter pruning. We've got a few things out there. The blueberries are getting ready to start blooming, and the fig trees, some of them are actually even putting on some leaves out there. And of course the loquats, the pomegranates, we've got some work to do out here this month, and we got to get it done because today, this very morning, is probably the very, very last cool day we're going to have for winter. I don't know for sure. The long range outlook, the 12-day, the 14-day, the 10-day, they all say that we're getting warmer. And folks, when we get warmer here in Destin, Florida this time of year, the end of February, typically it sticks for the rest of the spring. And we're coming down, we're actually in the last part of spring, winter. So I'm getting excited. Let's go take a look at it all. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So obviously it's coming down to the end of February, and we're going to look at these outer garden beds. If you remember the January tour, and if you missed it, go back and watch it. We do this every single month. We do a front and side garden tour, we do a outer garden bed tour, and we do an inner garden bed tour every month. And we are coming up, next month will be the end of our third year of doing it, which means we're starting a fourth year in April. And I'll admit, I'm a little excited. These videos are my own personal journal of what's going on in the garden. I use these all the time, but my brain, I've tried the journaling apps, I've tried writing in a notebook, I've tried all these different ways, and my ADD brain just doesn't get stimulated by it. It's just not what my brain can deal with month after month after month. But making these videos, for some reason, I just loved making these videos, and I love having you along. So please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything as we're going along. Ask your questions or share your experiences in the comments below. I love hearing from y'all. I have learned so much from people asking questions, from people sharing their experiences to these videos. We are coming up on 700 videos, I think, right now. And so, yeah, I've just enjoyed to no end hearing from y'all in any way possible. So be sure and feel free to interact with me and with other people that are commenting here. I am, of course, Bowtie David. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning again for a new month, for a next season that's starting up here so soon, welcome back. And I hope you enjoy things going on in the garden as we talk about what's happening. And these outer garden bed tours, there's been something a-brewing. And if you've been watching consistently, ooh, I just broke off a berry, a blackberry bud that's about to come off. Doggone it, it'll be fine. But if you've been following along, you know that winter has really taken a little bit of a toll here. The middle of January, we had 5¼ inches of snow. Can you believe it? In Destin, Florida. That is the most in recorded history. And that's actually going back a very long, not only the 130 or 40 years of weather records, it's also going back to older records from sea captains and other people that would have kept records of any snowfall that's happened in this area. We could not find any reference of a snow this big here in Destin, Florida. Now, interestingly enough, talking about weather, just about 10-15 miles that way, nothing new. We are in the middle of the Gulf. Well, not the middle of the Gulf. We have the Gulf of Mexico over there. In fact, here's a map that shows you that we have the Choctawhatchee Bay to our north, which is a huge bay. Right now, our water temperatures are at 64 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'll put on the bottom of the screen here what that is in Celsius. But whenever the wind comes across that water, whether from the north, the south, the east, or the west, whenever the wind comes across that water, doesn't matter how cold it is, it's going to pull it closer to that moderate temperature of the water surface. And so we tend to get this little bubble here in Destin that they don't get just 5 or 7 miles across the bay. Completely different weather patterns, and it fascinates me. Me and Mrs. Bowtie, we've both always been fascinated with weather, and this is just a neat thing to watch. We've lived in a couple of other places that have microclimates like that. And that's important to know, because sometimes you might find there's something you can't grow that your neighbor just 3 miles away can grow, or vice versa. And it can be frustrating, it can be exhilarating. It's something to study. Now, that's one of the few things that really get my mind tweaked out about is the weather. And, some of the science stuff in the garden, I just have a hard time with. I just love planting seeds. I just love encouraging people, especially new gardeners, that just put a seed in the ground just to see what happens. And I started out with a single tomato plant as a gift to me from my friend Kip, and I grew that. And that's really what was the catalyst for everything you see in our gardens, was this single tomato seed for a new gardener. I'd tried in the past with very little success, but it's a new age, people. It is a new age, and we have so much education available and so many good bits of information that anybody can learn to garden. And I really like what some people are talking about here in the I hesitate to say the prepper world. It's not the prepper world. It is just being smart. And, most of us can remember just not a few years ago, there was a shortage of food on the shelves. And it's great to be able to know how to grow your own food. Grow your own tomatoes, cucumbers, loquats, beans, tomatoes. I said tomatoes. Hot peppers. Oh, hot peppers. All kinds of stuff that we've grown in our garden. And the reason why it's good to know how to do these things, because if you wait till there's a shortage and you haven't learned already, it's going to take a year or two to get learned, to get studied and know how to do it. And admittedly, I actually feel like I got very fortunate my first year, and we grew a lot of stuff. We grew plenty of tomatoes. We grew up several things that we were very happy with, but it's good just to practice ahead of time. Even if you're in an apartment with a little outdoor patio that gets just a tiny bit of sun, grow something. I have a friend that grows their Thai hot peppers on their not very sunny patio, and they love the Thai hots, and I've given them a couple of plants over the years, but just a little bit of something out there, just to get your fingers into the soil, learn how to do that. It's so important, because it's just very gratifying to know that if something happens, hey, you're good, you're protected. So anyway, the big thing here, and this is kind of an education thing, we're going to talk about pruning some of these things that have been building up. Yep, if you watch these garden tours, you know we've got some things building up. And I have a tool that I have not used for this before that I'm going to be using today. I'm very excited about, because it's going to make things a lot faster and a lot easier. And so we're going to start here with this arbor that you see over me and behind me. This is one of my long arbors. I have a lot of these arch trellises out here. They're made with 16-foot cattle panels. In fact, you can see off to the right side, there's a couple more. There's 3 more cattle panels over there on our little quarter-acre property that we have, 100 feet wide, 106 feet deep. Counting those 3 over there, I have 25 cattle panels on this property. Some are straight, some are across the top. There are different ways. 21 or 23 of them are in arch trellises, and I love that. I just love the arch trellises. I love the feel of it. I love when this thing is covered in things growing and you can walk through here as an entrance. The grape arbor, which we just trimmed out front. Hopefully, if you haven't seen that video yet, it's going to come out pretty soon. But yeah, we did trim the grape arbor. I'm very excited, kind of in preparation for today, because I'm doing a lot of trimming today, people. We're going to have an absolute pile of trimmings today, and I know it's going to be a lot. The waste management people are going to have to bear with me here, because it's going to be a big pile out there out front. Anyway, we're very fortunate to have a really good waste management crew here in Destin, Florida. I believe they come out of Fort Walton Beach. So that's like 8 minutes of introduction to this already. I think we need to get on with this, because I've got a lot to do today. I actually am going to try to record a raised garden bed tour too, and that one is going to be on some very basic analysis of the soil, okay? I'm not doing chemical analysis, I'm not doing nutrient analysis, we're doing something else which you might find interesting if you like weather. So let's get on with this. Of course, we do have the map of the property that we're going to put down here in the corner. The little icon here with the circle and the arrow. The circle represents the location of the camera. The arrow represents the direction it's pointing, so you can get an idea of what is, I keep looking off over here. We've got squirrels. We got something playing with a branch over there. It must be a cat up in there because it's pretty big. Anyway, I hope it's not the raccoon. Oh my goodness. We don't need the raccoon coming over this way, or a possum. Anyway, this represents the camera. We'll be putting this down in the corner on the map to kind of give you an idea of where we are at and the direction the camera is pointing. Unfortunately, I don't have the up and down reference point, but you can pretty much tell when we're pointing up or down. With a little common sense. Okay, moving right into it, let's take a look at these blackberries, and we're going to do a few things that I've been talking about for months and months. Let's get right on with some trimming of plants. So yeah, here in the blackberry arbor, now you'll notice, we're going to notice some differences here. This is blackberries, and you see these little buds right here? These things are so ready to explode. In fact, let me come up here and show you that one that I just broke off right there. Do you see that little tiny bit of green right there in the middle? Right? Let's even get the focus. There we go. That's what I just broke off. But you notice how it's green? That means that bud that I broke off is alive. Or was. Is not anymore. But there's one right next to it. It's getting ready to bust out, so that'll kind of take over, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. These things, folks, God made these things want to grow. They want to provide for us. They want to give us food, and these things are just truly aching. That every single node has these little buds on them, these little swellings at the leaf bud, and this thing is going to just explode with blackberry leaves here just within a couple of weeks, because we're looking at 70 degrees for the next I don't know, that's like 20 degrees Celsius. It's going to be a few weeks, folks. We're heading into spring here in Destin, Florida. It comes earlier than most people. Now notice the difference in color between these nice orange stems and this thing right here. This is would be an older thing, something closer to the end of its life. Now, in all fairness, this is actually a tomato plant that grew up inside here. It was a volunteer, and we're going to just pull this thing out because it is done. We got a few, in fact, it was kind of our backup source of Everglades tomatoes this year, which was kind of nice. And there we start our pile of cuttings for the day. It's going to just be the beginning, but I do want to show you over here. We come this way. Now, the big thing is notice the color. Now, here's the reason why you want to notice the color of these stems. Blackberries are biennial, which means they grow for 2 years. They will grow the first year in these nice purple vines, which in this case, it was last year, 2024, and they will grow like that, and then in the very near future, coming up here in a month, they're into their second year, and this year these things are going to be producing berries galore, tons and tons of berries. I think we weighed 20 some odd pounds of berries we got last year. I think we can do more because, well, frankly, we're going to be here for more of the season. But I want to come down here. I'm going to get on my knee real quick. Ooh, that soil is wet. And look at this thing right here. And do you see how nasty, how brown this is? This was in its second year last year, and it is so ready to not be anymore. It is just so ready to come out because, and I kind of left it here just for the sake of today's video. I wanted to leave something to show you the difference because look, you can see there's the new one. It's coming into its second year. This is the old one. It's coming into its third year. And blackberries, people, blackberries, if they live a third year, they're not going to do very well. And so what we have to do is we have to know the difference here and trim out these old ones. Now, most of the old ones in my property have been trimmed out because I like to get those at the end of the harvest, which for us comes around April through July, I think it is, April through June, somewhere in there. And so after June or July, after the harvest is starting to wane, after the birds start getting the berries, I will start cutting out these old ones. And you can tell they're all woody and just start getting to that kind of brown tannish color stems, but when they're like this, they're growing you. Now this thing here, the new vines, when they're in their first year, these things will actually look green. They'll be a green vine. These have turned purple. These are coming into their second year. And so that's how you can kind of tell. In fact, I'm looking here. You can almost see, you see how that one stem is actually still ever so slightly, it's got that green tinge to it. There's a few places in here that you can see green ones. Oh, here's a really good one. Look at this stem right here. Still very green. This is definitely, last year was its first year. This will turn purple within a month or two. And this thing will be producing fruit very soon. Oh, I'm so excited. That same vine, oh, it's connected. It's one of those ones that's connected at both ends. It goes up there, comes down, and it goes back into the ground over there. So it's growing roots on both ends of the vine. Isn't that the coolest thing? These things just want to grow, people. This is all there is to it. They just want to grow. So blackberries, there you go. Now, we have 4 pomegranate trees. We have one way over here to the right. We have one right here, one over there, and one on the other side here. Now, last 2 years, I've been keeping these suckers. Now, let's talk about suckers. We call them suckers. It's not really a bad thing. It just depends on what the plant is. And a lot of plants get suckers. Tomatoes get suckers. It depends on how you want to grow them. I'm kind of walking around. That's the extension cord for our, it's a temporary extension cord because I weed-eated the last one. I had to replace it. But anyway, these suckers grow way down here at the bottom. And the reason we call them suckers is because as the energy is traveling out of the root ball, which is going to be most of the energy, people, as the energy is traveling out of the root ball down here and going up the tree, some of it gets shunted off to all these little suckers. And there's a bunch of them back here. Can you see all those? There's I don't know, 10 of them back here. Now, look down here at the bottom. This right here, let's see if we can get a photo. There we go. This right here, this one was something that was probably cut off a year or two ago. See how it's a nice clean cut and it's starting to heal over? Now look at this thing right here. You know what this is? This was cut out a number of years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And so that right there is starting to heal over and it's starting to get healthy. And that's what we want to see. From that healing over point right there, we come up just right here. You can see this one. Look at the detail on that particular cut right there. And you can actually see how that bark is starting to swell up around the cut. This is probably a couple years, at least 2 years old, maybe 3. I'm not positive. I can't remember the first time. I think the first time I cut these was 2 years ago. So I'm suspecting that was 2 years, but it's growing a new thing. Now this is still a sucker because it's shunting off a little bit of that energy that I want to go up. Now I've done an experiment here for the past couple years, and I cut the suckers off of these 4 pomegranate trees, and there's one out front as well. But there's the other 4 trees on the other side of the property you can see here. And these suckers, I have never touched these over on this side of the property at all. This is the south end of the property. And then back to the north end of the property, these northern 4 pomegranates, I have been taking care of these. And interestingly enough, despite being under a magnolia tree up there and in more shade, these things have produced bigger and more beautiful pomegranates. And so after doing this for 2 years and seeing that greatly improved condition, I am going to be pruning all the suckers. We're going to be leaving 1, 3, or 5 stems, trunks on these things coming out of the root ball. Okay, why an odd number? I don't know. That's what they say you're supposed to do. And so that's what I'm going to do. I do want to point out, we'll be taking the suckers out. I do want to point out there's a few other pruning things that I'm going to be doing. And I'm right here. If you notice this, do you see how this is rubbing right there? So these 2 branches, they're in conflict. And this is actually not a good thing. If I pull it apart, you can see it's kind of brown in there, and that's going to get worse. And so what I have to do is I have to figure out which one of these 2 branches to cut off, because we don't want this anymore. And so what I'll be doing, this branch here, it's more like a water chute shooting straight up, and we'll be taking this thing out because it's rubbing against it. That kind of has an angle at it. Now it has a little bit of lichen on it. That's not a bad thing, people. Lichen is not a bad thing. If it's starting to rot away, yeah, it would be worse, but we're going to keep this branch. And this water chute the thing that goes straight up that's trying to get height is not as good. And so we're going to be looking for problems like this. We're going to have to pick out which ones we want. There are a few problems that I have not dealt with. In fact, you'll notice if I come, and we're right there behind the blackberry arbor. You'll notice, come over here, and here's a really bad one, people. Look at how bad this is rubbed. Somebody is going to really complain at me. No, I know they wouldn't complain, but I know this is not the way to do it. So obviously this branch has got to come out, and I'll probably end up taking it right down there to the bottom. But we've got to get these rubbing plants, things that are pointing inwards. And there's and you'll notice, like this is the branch we're cutting out. It points inwards, crosses the tree. And so I'm going to be cutting that out. And so we'll be trying to take care of a few things. Direction, dead, dying. There's the D's, and I'll see if I can remember those before the end of the video, what those D's are that I'm looking for, but also the suckers down here. So we're going to really clean up these pomegranates for this year, and I'm hoping that this year we can see healthier trees and we can see more success. So I'll be using the tripod a bit here and setting the camera up on these trees as I trim them, cut back a whole bunch of these suckers, and you're going to have to, and check out that new tool. I got me a Corona bypass loppers, and these things are great. Now I can get a lot of stuff with this, the bigger stuff. Yep, I still have to pull out that little hand saw, that little pruning saw, and I like this saw, but it is better for those bigger things that these loppers just cannot get. So, yeah, how about we just set up a little bit of our tinkly music and watch some very fast motion here as we start going through these pomegranates. I'm so excited. So how much more beautiful is that? Oh, I'm so happy. 3 stems, 3 very clean stems on this one. There's like 3 on that one, 3 there, and 3 there. Oh, all 4 trees have 3 nice stems on them. We're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. We're gonna have some good pomegranates this year. Moving on from the pomegranates, and we're going to do the other half of the pomegranates here closer to the end, so be sure to stick around as we clean those things up for the very first time. Yeah, these are my old Corona loppers. No, these are actually pretty new. I know someone's going to fuss at me for not taking better care of that. I need to do that. It's an ADD problem, people. Okay, so we're over here at our blueberries, and I just wanted to show, and by the way, there's no sponsorship. I just like the Corona tools. They're great. I've had a few of them, and all of them that I've had have been fantastic. We got some other brand stuff that we're trying out. Anyway, so this is the first of the blueberries. Now let me back up here just a little bit, show you the whole thing. Now, across that back fence from that first blueberry all the way to the last blueberry is 25 feet across that fence, and it comes out from that fence to here. This is, 18 feet, I guess. I think this is an 18-foot section of fence. Kind of give you an idea of how much area we have these 10 or 12 plants in. Now, the original 10 or 12 plants were not planted by me. They were planted by the previous owner. He put in these fantastic plants. They've spread out. In fact, you can see like this one over here. Originally, that plant was planted somewhere either there or there. It's spread out, it's created new growth, and that new growth, we need to encourage that new growth. And so we're talking a little bit about blueberries, and I've been very reluctant to do a lot of trimming out of here. I have not done much. However, today is going to, let's say it's a New Year's resolution. It's a few things that I'm looking for in here in my blueberries. Number one, you see that green stuff back in there? That's a tree coming in that is not a blueberry, people. That is not blueberry. That's got to come out of there. So I'm going to either be pulling it up by the root, or more likely I'm going to be trimming it down at the ground. But folks, look at these. Look at these buds. Just Oh my goodness, this thing is just barely starting to come out and bud. Flowers are going to be here, my goodness, in no time at all. So anything I'm going to do, I need to get it done right now in typical ADHD fashion, of course. Yeah, I've been talking about ADHD a lot, and I've really been feeling it a whole lot. Number one, you'll notice down under the soil, down in the on the soil down there, we got a lot of weeds growing. We got to get those out of here. That's going to be in another video. I'm not weeding right now. I am pruning, but I'm going to prune those old trees out. Another thing that I'm going to be pruning out of here now. Same rules as with the with the pomegranate trees. Anything crossing, we need to get out of there so it doesn't damage. In fact, if I come over here, I was looking at this earlier. Come around here. This thing right here. Now, first off, this. I don't know what this is. It's all wedged in the middle there, but I think it's probably something from the magnolia tree. But this stuff that's crossing, that little branch right there is hitting that. So that's an easy little trim. That's a tiny little trim. Most of the blueberry stuff is going to be tiny things, but I want you to notice particularly over here, and I'm trying to squeeze in between all these branches. These two branches right here, and notice they're starting to rub. They're starting to grow together, and look at the texture on this one versus this one. This one here is the older one. And with blueberries, you do need to prune out some of the older stuff. Now, some people say they prune them every year. Some people say they never prune them. And I hear everything in between. Now, this is my 4th year with these. And I have pruned these out once in 3 years. And today we're going to be taking out some of this older wood, especially, I mean, look at this thing. It is wedged right in here. So it's going to take a little work. I need to cut this thing down lower so I can lift it up out of this fork right here that it's locked into. That's the kind of thing we don't want. You can see this one here. This is an old one right here. This is very old. That thing needs to come out because we need to make room for new growth in here. And the more new growth, the better this thing is going to grow. Get those old trees out of there. Anything crossing over, it does need to be thinned out a little. In fact, I see one right here. Look at, there's another worn branch that's kind of rubbing right down there. Can you see that? It's rubbing. It's going to damage itself. It's going to damage this younger branch, and we just don't want that. And basically, I'm not going to be trimming a whole lot out of here. But I am going to look around for a few of these problem areas, get all that green stuff out of there, those green trees that are growing in the middle. I see another one down there. Doggone it. Hadn't had one over here before. Those little tiny things right there at the base, I can actually just pull those up from the root. Those are easy. All of this, in fact, all the growth you see along this area right down here, this is all new growth that's come under the fence from these old blueberry vines. And so this is new plants, people, and these will start breaking out into new joy everywhere. I do kind of have a path that goes through here that I use for harvesting. In fact, you can really see the green tag there and the green tag way back there. Those are the green tags that the previous owner put there just for me because he knew one day some gardener was going to want to know what these are. And I'll put on the bottom of the screen what these are. I don't know which is which. I do know we have a mix of two, which is what you need with blueberries. A lot of blueberries need counterparts to pollinate real good. And yes, these pollinate with our bee box over there. So let's get busy on some of these and see what we can pull out of here. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot, but it is the next project on this morning's list for the outer garden bed tour. And then we're going to go on to some fig trees. Woohoo! I wanted to show you a little more damage here. See, this thing is rubbed or been cut or something. This is a cut that's kind of going bad. So this branch definitely needed to come out. It actually was still growing kind of, but it was suffering. So this one coming out is probably a good idea. And so there's the 3 tools that I've used. That's it. And looking over here at some of the stuff that I cut off, notice how woody these are looking, distressed. I mean, these just all are just very old wood that really can come out to make room for new, younger growth. is coming out. Let me show you that. So some of these are really looking strong and young, ready to go and ready to take over their role. Now, I see now vines like that, I gotta get off of there, otherwise they're gonna do damage. Doggone it. I thought I'd got them all off of there, but yeah, we got some more vines growing up over there. It's this stuff right here. It's all prickery and grows up. Oh my goodness, it has so many little prickers on it. They hurt something fierce, but yeah, we're looking for these new shoots today. This is actually green. Now this has got a dead tip to it, but it will start growing out. These things are just aching to get out. Hopefully that will give them some more air. I will tell you, so you saw the only 3 tools. This is one branch here. I couldn't get the loppers between there to cut this off down lower, so I had to get that saw out. That's good, that'll work. So the other piece I had to get the saw out for is this one here. It is just simply a little too big, and this is a little too cramped to get to those loppers in here. And so that took 2 hands, but that is a lot of energy on a bedraggled old piece of the vine that will now be spent on growing new, stronger vines. I'm very excited about that. Yes, we've taken out a lot of buds, but with all that energy now diverted to the young, stronger, faster growth, these should do better. Let's see how many pounds we get here. Be sure to stay tuned and subscribe for the blueberry harvest coming up in not very long. Yeah, seriously. There you go. So from the blueberries, and by the way, have you trimmed blueberries? Are you growing blueberries? I'd be curious to hear anybody's experiences, because I'm still learning these things. I always learn so much when y'all have comments or questions. You know, share your experiences or ask your questions, because occasionally I get a question I have to go research because I'm like, oh, that's good information. I need to learn that. But we're coming over here to the fig tree. Oh, my beautiful fig tree. This right here, wedged in here, is my pride and joy. The one I'm most proud of, the one I am trying to get to grow perfectly, and afraid that branch is going to have to go because it's hitting the trellis there, and there's probably another one under there that's going to have to go. But anyway, you'll notice it's got a central leader coming right up here, and then right here we got 4 perfect branches, one to the north, one to the south, one to the east, one to the west. Isn't that beautiful? And then it comes up with a central leader, and it comes up to another set of branches, little goblet shape. And interestingly enough, this one never grew one on the north side, which is fine. I'm not really trying to protect the north side. East, west, south. Oh my goodness, that works perfect. Then it comes up to here, and we're getting up to, this is eye level right here. Just right about there is eye level. And it comes to a decision point, people. How tall do I want this tree to go? And I think I'm going to let it go with that 1 leader, just a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to chop off about the top 4 to 6 inches of that main leader, and we will officially reach the top of what I want to call, we have 1, 2, 3 clusters of branches. There's a few random ones here that I'm probably going to have to take out. These 3 lower ones, these in here, they got beautiful green on them, and I hate taking them out. And Anthony over at Millennial Gardener is like, come on, man, suck it up, Buttercup. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go up there, and let's you see I got my beautiful trimmers here, and incidentally, there is a right way to hold these trimmers. You see how the blade bypasses the anvil? This is the anvil over here, and the blade is right there. You want that blade to be toward the living part of the tree. Whoops, I gotta get in here. I'm being skewered. All right, here we go. This is the important cut, folks. Most important cut on this tree, and it will determine all future habits. Yeah, okay. I'm new to this, people. Yep, been doing this 5 years. I'm still new. And there it is, nice 45-degree angle. That will be the height of that tree, of that fig tree. Okay, that was stressful. There we go, people. We've been looking at this thing for 3 years now. This is the end of year 3. This was actually the very first fig tree I put in. And now it has its height. That's an important day, people. So we come over here to the left where the loquats are. Now, people, loquats are an evergreen. That means they stay green all year along. Most people think, oh, evergreen, pine tree. Well, yeah, pine tree is an evergreen also. But loquats are also an evergreen. And these are green all winter, kind of like citrus. Citrus is an evergreen. And they stay green all winter. They're starting to get ready to fruit out. In fact, these little white leaves right here, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing some action in here. I'm very excited about that. However, I am trying to grow a hedge here. This is really an experiment. There's 5 trees in a row. 5. Now these over here, you see, are shorter and they get taller to this tall one right here. And eye level, oof, right about in there, right about where the fence line is, maybe a little above. Actually, about where the tops of my neighbor's windows are right there. That's about the eye level. I wanted to get up a little higher than that, but not much. In fact, my goal is to keep this is to trim it to 6 feet, let it grow to 8 feet as the season to produce fruit comes, which is starting here pretty soon. Folks, we're going to be harvesting fruit, loquats here pretty soon. And if you don't know what loquats, I'll explain that in another video. But I'm going to come up here, and I'm looking here at the branches, and I'm going to come up to about here. And let's see how and notice the blade is down toward the wood I want to keep. The anvil will crush the wood at the top that we're getting rid of. So we don't want to damage the wood we're keeping. And we're going to take off that top. That right there, folks, was a momentous topping. And that right there will be, and I just took off, I don't know, almost 2 feet of it. And if we look down inside the tops here, you can see all the new growth. I do believe, I think that one right in there may even, is that a bud going in there? Oh, I don't know. I'm hoping this year is my year to harvest the first of my loquats. That would be so cool. But that, topping trees, yeah, setting their height. This is the year to set their height. Now, that far one over there, it's getting close. I know for a fact that next year, that one will be topped. But right now, it's just a little over 6 feet tall. I'm going to let it go. And also, you'll notice these things are branching out a little bit and starting to fill in. Over here, these small ones haven't really filled in between. But those, the more they go, the more they're going to fill in between. And what's going to happen here is when we top that up there, this thing is going to start going out wide. That thing, there's not going to be as much space. End of next year, it will start filling out. These two will get, I don't know if they're going to get topped next year or not. They're a little smaller for some reason. They were smaller when they went in the ground. We'll have to see what happens with those. But yeah, so there's our 5-tree loquat hedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-tree loquat hedge. And I have a spare over here in a pot if I ever need it. I'm just going to let it grow over there. Not forever. As we are over here by the bee box, I like to show the bees. In fact, let me zoom in real close and show you. You're going to see the bees going in actually have pollen on their hind legs. Some of them do. It's the light color stuff on those hind legs. Here we go. As they come out, they're nice and cleaned up, but the ones that are going in, you can see they have that light color on their hindquarters. They have been cleaned off, ready for their next go at it. Some like that one just landed. Oh, that's a good one on the white stuff on the left there. Yeah, he's got a lot of pollen on it. He lost his entrance. He'll find it. He'll find it. So here next to the bee box, of course, we have the comfrey, of which I am very proud. You remember the snow was on this. You can see these leaves that are all bedraggled. I can pull those out, stick them in the compost. Those are super high nutrients for the compost. There's another one over here by the bee bath, which needs to get put back together. But look at that comfrey. It is just exploding. There's a few more of these little trees that I need to pull out. But it's warming up out here slightly, and the bees are getting more active. But I've got to get all these green trees out of here. Out, out, out. They've got to go. And so that, of course, brings us over here to this brown turkey fig tree. I'll zoom out here in just a second just to kind of give you the lay of the land. Over there, far left is the Loquats, one of those we just topped off. And right next to it there, you can see the fig tree we just topped off. And, of course, the blueberries are kind of over here to the right. Blackberries, you can't quite see the arbor over here, but the bee box you can see right in the back over there. And that's where we're just looking around. I actually got a lot of the green stuff out there, but I still have to get those. There's like 4 trees over there that I need to lop off. But yeah, we're getting down to it here. And so yeah, this brown turkey fig tree, this is the one that the lupa was pulling over and actually did some damage, kind of pulled the tree over at about a 45-degree angle. And I've had these straps up here for a while now, and I'm hoping that they will stand on their own. Always pulling these kind of things out, but anyway, hoping this will stand on its own. Now it is kind of misshapen over here because of that branch on the left side over there. I don't want that. I want there to be a goblet shape coming out from right around in this area here. And you can see there's some branches there. In fact, let me pull in a little closer here, take the camera and get you in here. So I'm looking at this branch, this branch, this branch, and this branch as being the goblet shape, which means just about everything down below here needs to come out. These are more suckers, folks. And so all these little, and especially like this one right here, holy cow, it's coming from down there. This is not a grafted tree. It is just a brown turkey fig cutting from a friend. And so anyway, yeah, all these little things down here low have got to come off. And I really like that branch right there as one of my little scaffolding branches. And then we're going to come up here and you'll notice there's another set of scaffolds right here. And I'm really happy with that structure, which means something is going to have to come off of this big, long, beautiful branch. But what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up cutting. And if I look here, you can see there's a beautiful branch getting ready to come out right there. Do you see that little tiny thing? If I cut this right here, I think that's going to be able to balance out with these other branches in here. Now I could come out just a little bit further and you'll see we have 2 more right here that are kind of attractive. We start getting out here, we're getting too far for balancing the tree. And so I'm trying to keep that balance in this tree. I really think that it's between these 2. And I really think I'm going to try keeping it out to here and see if we can do that. But I'm going to go ahead and put you back on the tripod here so that we can get this done with 2 hands a little more efficiently. And so let me zoom out. Oh, we are zoomed out. Okay. So yeah, got all my same tools here. The first thing I need to do, of course, is take off these straps, which I'm hoping they're going to hold. I'm hoping. And sure enough, you can see the tree is now standing on its own. It is pretty straight. It's straight enough, folks. I could do a little more straightening on it if I wanted to, but it's been like that for a few months now, since I think it was November maybe that I actually strapped those up. And so November, December, January, February, 3 months it's been sitting there supported, and it's definitely got a lot better angle on it. So ultimately though, comes down to the painful point. And again, same thing, anvil, blade goes toward the tree. we simply clean that tree up. To that point right there, and this is ready to go. I'm not sure I want to cut that with my hand trimmers. I will cut it with the loppers. I realize how important this cut is. There it is. I've made the decision. We'll watch that. Be sure to subscribe. That's stressful. Anthony over at Millennial Gardener told me, just do it. I'm trying, brother. I am trying. All right, so there we have that tree all trimmed up. And I'll start from the bottom down here close, and you can see I'm a little confused between these two branches. I think this is the branch you're going to keep, but I'm going to let this go a little longer. I can cut it off if I decide differently. There's a little one still right there. And there's a couple of small ones that just need to come off as I go here. But I am trying to focus the energy on a few fruit-producing branches of this tree. Same thing up here. I would love to eventually have another one back here. It looks like we could get another one to grow right there, maybe. I don't know. Let's see what... Oh, look at there. There's a promising looking one. Trying to get them in the right direction. One in each direction of the compass. And yes, I haven't topped it yet. I think I wanted to let it get a little bit taller. Not much, just a little taller. That's right there about even with the roof line. That's about eye level for me for this tree. So that's a little over 6 feet tall there, 2 meters tall. Okay, so that was, of course, a little bit stressful for me, but it's done. And we're looking at the last year's loofah. Arch trellis will not be loofah this year. We do have that video coming out very shortly on mistakes I made growing loofah. It's been recorded. I am in the process of editing it. The jasmine, oh my goodness, this jasmine is getting ready to explode up this trunk. I am really excited. There's actually living jasmine vine going all the way up to right about there. It's going to start shooting this thing out, the jasmine out, which is very exciting. Parts of this wood pile will be disappearing here very shortly, like within a week. Look at the old corn patch. I'm thinking I'm going to put some more corn in here. I've got some more corn seeds coming. I got some pumpkin seeds coming for this area. So I'm very excited for that. And then we come around here too. Yes, we come around here to the other problem area. 4 more pomegranate trees. There's one here kind of nestled in with this lemon tree. And I don't know that much of that is going to make it. That lemon tree is looking a little rough. I mean, the pomegranate is looking a little rough. The lemon tree is looking rough too because of the freeze we had, and I need to figure this whole mess out. I'm going to end up single stemming down here for the lemon trees, and that's going to be a painful experience. Of course, this pomegranate over here, this old branch is partially dead, and there's more pomegranate branches coming out here. I am going to pick 3 branches out of all this mess. 3 branches to be the new pomegranate tree in this place. Now, I can grow new pomegranate trees. I have grown new pomegranate trees. The person before me grew a lot of these pomegranate trees from seed, and so I believe I can do it as well. Shouldn't be too terribly difficult, but these 4 pomegranate trees over here on the south end of the garden, of the backyard, have never been trimmed since I was here. And this last year was as distinct as I've ever seen. They did not produce very well either. They produced small fruit and just a few fruit. They're crowded. I mean, look how thickly crowded that tree is. We're going to thin all that out. And these should be a lot better this year. So let's get to it. Need the tools. Need a tripod. Where's my tripod? So I'm over here on the corn patch setting up my tripod, and I just realized how spongy this ground is. It is amazing. Oh my goodness, this is going to be good soil. All we need to do is get these weeds taken care of, and we will be doing that real soon. Okay, back over here to the problem child. And yes, all these cuttings, all the way over the branches over there, were from this one tree. My goodness. Oh, 3.5 years in the making, folks. Finally gonna try to have some real pomegranates on this side. And so we get down to the last tree next to the compost bin, and you can see that looks a world different. And yes, that's a bunch of old loofah right there. No surprise, my mistakes growing loofah video is coming out. I think I already said that, didn't I? This video has taken all day to record, but yeah, I cannot believe the difference in these pomegranate trees. I would like to get into doing cuttings from this rosemary plant. Don't think it's going to happen in this video. I do have one last task, though, that we're going to address in this trimming video. And that is, of course, the lemon tree. And let me tell you something. You go like this to a lemon tree leaf and smell it, you smell lemon. It is really amazing. You start rustling this around and get the juice on your fingers. The whole tree smells like lemon. It's really amazing. However, there is one downside to dealing with lemon trees, and I'll just show you right here. Does that look a little dangerous to you? Lemon trees have a lot of big old nasty prickers on them, thorns, that will skewer you all the way through your hand. So I'm going to go through here. We have actually, and I cleaned out a little bit in this pot already, just so we could see. But we have in here, in this location, we have 3 lemon trees, 3 distinctly lemon trees. There's one growing over there on the other side of the pot. There's one growing over here on this side of the pot, and there's one that's growing here that looks like maybe 5 stems that we're going to narrow down. I'd like to narrow it down to just this one stem and maybe cut some of this. Oh, never mind. Is there any other old stuff? No, I don't think so, but get some of this stuff out of here, and so this can grow. And with that lemon that I just saw, this thing just came off of one of these trees within the past month. And I totally missed it. And I'm a little upset about that. I really am. And so we're going to come in here and we're going to take care of this set of 3 lemon trees. I would probably let more stems stay here if there weren't 2 other lemon trees right next to it. This thing is in a pot that's actually, it tells me that it's grown into the ground underneath the pot. So 3 lemon trees right here, pretty close. I don't know, 16 inches apart, not very far apart. And we have the other lemon tree I'd like to address, and that is going to be everything we're doing in this garden tour. And so we got you here looking down on this thing. There's a bit of grass growing around here because, frankly, this end of the garden has been so overgrown. And that is what I am rectifying today. There's a piece of, ooh, look at those prickers on that thing. But yeah, we'll have to come in here very carefully. Fortunately, there's not a lot of thorns down this low, so I can grab them by the base of the stem and be pretty safe. See, these 2 are almost, actually they're coming from the same thing. I need to remove one of these 2. I like this one because it actually looks stronger. So I really want to remove this one on this side. I don't know if I better get the loppers for that one. I'd rather get the proper tool in there and do it right than mess it up. I'm already apt to mess this up as it is. But, you know, this is just what I'm doing, people. And I know I have zero doubt there's, ow, thorn in my leg, ouch, okay, ouch. I know there are people that do this far better and frankly far more aggressively than I do because, yeah, I'm scared to death of this. I don't want to lose my trees, do I? But, you know, life happens. You lose a tree, root another out. Oh, looky there, what is this? It's a little snail shell. All right. We have got to get rid of one of those 2. And looking up here higher, it's going to be this one over here. There are some bad spots on this. I'll show you here in just a moment. If I can do this without damaging the other stem, I'd be very ecstatic. Okay, ow, doggone it, that's a thorn. You can see right here, I looked up a little higher, and there's a bad spot in that branch. The other one does have a bad spot also, but it's higher up. I'm not going to worry about it. So this is the branch the trunk I just left. This one here, yeah, there's nasty prickers on that. This is one branch. Actually, the one branch that kind of confused me a little. I thought, should I keep this? This is one of the reasons why I didn't want to keep it. You can see right here, though, is there's some brown spot in that fork. That may be bad. That may be freeze damage. I don't know. We'll find out over time. I'm going to take that off and be done with this little lemon tree. Let me take care of these other 2 real quick. So I can't believe how these pomegranate trees look. I'm so excited to see that. This grass, I've been promising for like 2 years to break it up, and yes, it still needs to be broken up. It really is looking a little haggard right now with all the cold weather. I'm sitting over here because we actually have one more lemon tree here that I would like to tend to eventually. There's supposed to be there's another stump down here, but I don't think it's going to come back. I haven't seen it in a while, and I think the snow finally got this stump down here. I'm going to keep an eye on it though. But this one here, this is the one I allowed all the grass to grow over and tried to preserve it. So we'll have to see if my theory worked, though. It does look pretty good. I don't see any brown spots on the stems, and there is good new leaf growth coming out on it. There are also good thorns on here too. Anyway, I hope maybe you got something out of this. If you're inspirational, educational, informational. I don't. What did I used to say? I can't remember what I used to say. Anyway, or maybe it's just entertaining watching me throw around these trees and kill them all. We'll have to see what happens with them. I am very encouraged though with these pomegranates. I know we did the pomegranates over on that we started with years ago, and they did better. So I'm hoping these, maybe not this year, but certainly next year, will produce better if we keep up with them. Keep up with them. That's the problem, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, I've shed layers here. It's getting into the afternoon. This kind of took all day with other stuff that I had to do today. I did record a whole bunch of shorts today, so we'll have some shorts coming out here in the next little bit. But I got to get the raised garden bed to it, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a little analysis of the soil, not a soil analysis per se, but we're going to look at some stuff that we look at this time of year as we're getting started, trying to determine when is the right time to start putting plants in those beds. And that's a kind of a tricky thing, and I think last year I finally got it. I'm sitting here looking at about 50 robins flying around the magnolia. You might see some flying behind me. I can hear them chirping all around. But they are very, very active. The robins are going nuts. This is, in fact, my friend was just telling me this is the third round of robins. There goes some. This is the third round of robins that we've seen. They are all over. Wow. Wonder what they're hunting. I'm going to see if I can get some footage over there. But anyway, all that to say, we're coming down to the end here. I don't know how long this video got. No clue, in fact. I have a feeling it's going to take me a while to edit it and put it together, but we are dealing with the February garden tour, and I got to try to get it out early enough that I can get the raised February garden bed tour done as well. So, it's been a hinky couple of months. Production has been rough. My goodness, there's a bunch of robins all over here. Anyway, glad you joined along. If you have any questions or you want to share your experiences, please do that in the comments below. I love hearing from y'all. I love hearing your ideas, and sometimes people, even if it's just a question, don't be afraid to ask. Sometimes people ask questions, and I'm like, ooh, I got to look that up, and I go look up and realize, hey, I need to change my habits. It's a good thing to participate, and we typically have a number of people that comment on the videos, and I appreciate all of you who do. Oh, there's a robin right there. I've got to get some footage here. They're just everywhere in here. Robins, robins, robins. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. Probably nothing else to say. Stick around, subscribe, because we got the raised beds to go through, and I'm a little excited about looking at those. We've started doing some analysis of the soil, and we'll take you along with it, along with the soil that's out here. We're going to look at those hot peppers. We've got 23 hot pepper plants that are overwintering. We'll look at the success rate there. We got the ginger and the turmeric getting ready to come out. I want to show you how the ginger and turmeric are that's sitting in the little bit of sand and soil that we have going. So stick around for that. There's something happening. Anyway, y'all have a blessed day.